Well, hello everybody and welcome to another Happy Travellers vlog. Now today I just want to tell everybody that we are currently recording a podcast every week which goes out on Saturday mornings, and I just wanted to sort of include that in this vlog. So here's the recording of that podcast, which will be released on Saturday morning. This is episode 5 that you're going to be looking at and hearing now. So you can listen to it here or listen to it on a podcast service that you use. We publish podcasts through a system called Anchor. So we upload to Anchor, and then that service just distributes it out to things like SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, I think, stuff like that, and all sorts of other platforms. So we just upload it once and then it gets distributed out. We're getting quite a good response to it. It's a bit of a departure from the usual daily vlogs. It's a bit of a weekly roundup and more sort of full-time living type stuff going on. What's it like, how much does it cost, that sort of thing. And indeed, this podcast is all about what it costs to live on a monthly basis in a motorhome full-time. Well, indeed what it costs us. Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Happy Travellers podcast. I'm Steve, and along with my wife Wendy and our dog Pippin, we travel around the UK and Europe, living full-time in our motorhome, which is an Auto Trail Comanche. We've been asked a few questions about how much we spend, how we manage, and what it really costs to live full-time in a motorhome. And I thought today I'd just go through some of the broad costs. Clearly it'll be different for everybody, but here we go. This will give you a bit of a feeling for the types of thing that we spend and the sort of money that you'll need every week or every month to manage living full-time in a motorhome. So we keep a book of all expenses, and we've been doing this not since we started, but just before we started to travel across to Europe. So it's been about 3 months, and we've broken it up into sections to cover various items like general expenses, fuel, food, shopping, miscellaneous, that is more about the van servicing and so on. Things like tolls, rally fees, and Wi-Fi, for example. So there are also some one-off charges that we've recorded. Things like the bicycles, the locks for the bicycles, and so on, which obviously will be very different for everybody. But I think what we can say is that there are some standard things. Clearly, to start with, you'll need enough money to buy yourself a reasonable motorhome, but that is going to be anywhere between, I don't know, £15,000 up to £150,000, and it all depends on what your budget is and what that's going to be. So I'm going to put that to one side. We funded our motorhome, the one I'm in right now, the Auto Trail Comanche, by selling our property and taking some of the proceeds from that and investing in a really, well, quite new motorhome. That cost to us was about £80,000. So, putting that to one side, and you'll make decisions over the type and size of motorhome that you can afford or want to buy and are comfortable living in or travelling around in. Let's get on to the other costs. So, petrol or diesel, in our case, the cost of filling up with diesel has risen significantly over the last 6 months. It's gone from about £70 from a fully empty tank to a completely full tank. Was about £70. That can now be around about £100 or £105, depending on how desperate we are to fill up. I tend not to let it go below a quarter of a tank these days, so averagely about £80 to go for 3/4 of a tank. Depends what the cost of fuel is, but as I record this, it's the last time I filled up was about £1.30 or €1.30. It was around about that price. So, and we get roughly 25. Now, it can be down as low as 23 on average, or as high as 27 or 28. So, if we say 25 to the gallon, and this is a 5-ton van, so we get about 25 to the gallon, depending on the roads and how we drive. So that in effect is not one of our major costs, because we are parked up more than we drive. But the major cost to us, and one we try to minimise all the time, is camping site fees. So travelling around the UK is one of the most expensive ways of living full-time in a motorhome. So if you're going from some of the club sites like the Camping and Caravan Club or the Caravan and Motorhome Club sites, they can be anywhere from sort of 18, maybe £15 up to £30 per night. And if you're taking a little holiday, maybe £25 or £30 a night for your accommodation is pretty cheap, considering the facilities you have. You're in a comfortable own home sort of environment, and that can feel pretty low cost for a holiday. But then if you push that cost out to 365 days a year, that becomes quite an expensive way to live in a motorhome. And we were absolutely amazed when we came across to France for the first time, and we used all the Ayres books to plan our way and navigate through France into Spain using what are known as Ayres, or aire de camping car. So they're parking places with toilet emptying, waste emptying, maybe water fill up, and a lot of them are free to use, and maybe some have free water that you can fill up. A lot of them charge maybe €2 to fill up, and that usually gives you about 100 litres of water. So €1 per 50 litres, which is pretty cheap when you're driving around. I know that one of the big clubs in the UK have recently started to offer a waste emptying, toilet emptying and water fill up service where you can go into the site for up to 3 hours, I think, and they charge £7.50 for that. So when you compare that to the free airs in France, that feels like a bit of a rip-off, doesn't it? But when we're travelling around in France and Spain, we try to use the free airs for, they're usually sort of 3 or 4 nights you're allowed to stay. Some you can stay for 1 night, some 2, some don't mind how long you stay, and you can plan your way and actually not pay any site fees at all while you're travelling. So, which is it's almost like deleting your mortgage, if you like, from your expenses, which I'm sure everybody would want to do, and that's effectively where we're headed. In the last sort of 3 to 6 months travelling around in the UK, we were going from Auto Trail Owners Club rallies, and they were averagely, we were mixing between the rally sites and the some camping sites and a bit of free camping where we could find it. And on average, the last sort of 3 to 6 months cost us £12 a night in camping fees. So that's an average figure, £12 a night. So we know that we can do that around the UK, and that's the sort of budget that you can go for. Now, that's not to say that for £12 a night you'll get all of the facilities that you would get on a motorhome and caravan site or camping and caravan site. Indeed, the rallies usually are without electric hookup. They will always have water fill up, and they will always have toilet and wastewater emptying. So, it is very doable at £12 a night in the UK, and we're looking at ways of reducing that further by spending a bit more time in Europe and taking the advantage of those free airs and shopping locally in the small shops around the towns where we park up. Other things that we need to pay for are obviously van insurance, and as we are full-time, we have to go for the full-timing insurance, and on average that is about £100 to £110 per month, and we do pay that annually, so £1,200 to £1,300 a year, and that covers us for up to 9 months out of the UK, and for I think 6 months in any one country that is not the UK. So we could spend 6 months in Spain, but we could not then go back into Spain if we travelled out through France and then back in for a month. We would not then be insured. So, that's something else you need to budget for, is the full-time insurance. And of course, the MOT and the habitation check. Now, we have ours done as a package, and we have some very good friends in A&E Leisure in the Cheshire area at Northwich. They are supremely good at what they do. They're very, very conscientious and meticulous about their work. We've used their services many times, and in fact the first MOT and habitation check and service was done by them, and that was the whole thing was less than £500. When you think about all of that, I think it was £449, so £450. So you're going to have to budget for that as well, sort of servicing, habitation check to maintain your warranty, and so on and so on. So you want to really budget another £100 a month, really, because even though your van may never go wrong, having that budget there and sort of putting that money aside is a really good idea, because if something drastic does go wrong and you need to get a repair done, it's going to be expensive. So you need that bit of backup fund just in case maybe one of your wheels gets crunched in an accident or something like that, and you can't drive it. The other damage is not so bad or whatever. You'll need £300, £400, £500 to get your wheel and tyre replaced, for example. Maybe light bulbs go, maybe you have an electrical problem inside the van and you need to buy things, or maybe you just want to upgrade things to make life a bit easier when you're travelling around full time, and that can be quite expensive. So I recommend £100 a month for your MOT, servicing and van maintenance, £100 a month for your insurance, and of course there's the UK road fund license or car tax, and that's different for different types of van. Ours is £165 a year, so if you imagine that's going to be £15 a month, that's really where you want to be. But they are sort of annual costs, and you can sort of count those differently to the other costs that you have. Like you've got to pay out daily or weekly or monthly for your site fees. You've got to pay out as you go for your fuel. You've got to pay out for gas, and gas essentially, when we're off grid and travelling around, costs us about £25 a month to fill up. And we have a gas it system, which is a refillable bottle system that we drive into a petrol station or LPG station and then just fill up. And that usually costs us, if the bottles are completely empty, between £20 and £25 to fill up. And that of course depends on the per litre cost of the gas. Then there's food and stuff like that, but that really varies. I think we spend maybe £50 to £60 a week on food and general provisions. But that'll be different for everybody. And then you've got, we use quite a bit of internet service, and that travelling around, you need to have either a good mobile phone signal or a Wi-Fi dongle, and it depends how much internet you're going to use. And of course we use a lot because we do a lot of IT related things that use the internet, things like a daily YouTube video or blog, where we make a video, edit it and upload it daily, and you can see those videos over at youtube.com/The Happy Travellers if you want to keep up with our daily lives. And of course then there's this podcast that gets published weekly, and we need to upload that as well. So and then we watch a lot of YouTube videos, and we use Amazon Prime for video entertainment as well. So there's an awful lot of Wi-Fi or internet access required as we travel around, and that generally costs us it's 30. We have a Wi-Fi dongle, and that costs us about £32 a month, and we have two telephones that together cost us another £50 or £42, so £74-75 for internet access per month, and that includes the telephone bill as well. So there you are. Well, I hope that's given you a flavour of what it costs. We haven't done a full year's of accounting, but we have a general feeling that our costs can be kept down to around £1,200 a month. Maybe it will go down to £1,000, maybe it will go up to £1,400, but it's around that. So maybe £15,000 per year to live full time in a motorhome. I know. Well, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Quite a lengthy one. I still didn't fit in all the information that I wanted to in that podcast, but still, it's almost 20 minutes long. And but anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to listen to that, you can pop over to the podcast service and listen to that as well. If you want to go to Anchor, that's anchor.fm/The Happy Travellers, and you can find it on there, and you can subscribe. So the good thing about Anchor is that you can actually phone in. If you've got an Anchor subscription, which is free, you can phone in and use our podcast like a radio show. So you can call in, ask a question, and I can then include that in the next episode if you want me to. Anyway, thanks for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye for now.